Hey Apex Agents, Mobius Y here with another video for Mass Effect Andromeda's multiplayer. This is part 2 of today's character build guide, where we have an alternative look at the Human Adept once again. This is a different build and a slightly different playstyle from the previous Human Adept setup that we looked at many months ago. And that this setup is strictly focused on damage. Not so much on team support, but it still offers quite a lot of crowd control and even more damage. In case you couldn't tell, I really enjoy inflicting lots of damage in short time spans. So, if you would like to see part 1 where I go over the specific character setup and build that I am using in this gameplay, check the link in the description below, which will take you straight to part 1 of today's build guide. So, the main thing to remember with using this setup, well, two things actually. First off, always keep moving. You need to hunt down the bad guys that you are trying to kill, not park up somewhere and wait for them to come to you. You need to hunt them down, because your detonator, which is Shockwave, has a limited range. And secondly, Shockwave goes through walls and objects. So it's really nice being able to play this in a kind of fire and forget setup where you can be running somewhere, you see two bad guys huddled together, maybe a sub-boss that is de-shielded or a sub-boss that you can de-shield with another mook. You throw your singularity down at them, you keep running past them, cast your shockwave at them, deal lots of damage, you kill the mook. The sub-boss is almost dead, so as you keep running to the next area where the next group of bad guys are, you detonate your singularity to finish off that sub-boss. And then your powers are on a little bit of a cooldown as you approach the next group of bad guys. So those are just two really handy things to know. You can also slap a singularity down on something, run past it. If you're under some serious fire, you can run past it or run to the other side of an object or something, and then still cast your still cast your shockwave through a piece of cover into your singularity or towards an enemy that is pulled into the air, and you will still set off a combo because, as I said, shockwave goes through walls and objects. This is something super handy to know. Your powers are your #1 source of damage, as well as just the powers in combination, not specifically the biotic combos that you're inflicting with them, which will do also a lot of damage as you play this particular setup, but more how you use your powers in tandem with each other and your weapon of choice, whether it be the Scorpion like in this video, or whether it be a different kind of pistol or a different gun altogether. As I said, take your pick. I still recommend using a pistol, though, because then you can use the Expert package, which is a really nice combination piece of equipment, giving you power cooldown reduction as well as increased weapon damage in the form of extra pistol damage. One of my most commonly used pieces of equipment, especially on caster classes. So it's really handy for that. So there's really not much else to say with this particular gameplay. You want to try and set up big combos as often as possible, because that's how you kill the most enemies in a short time span. If you can throw your singularity down on an enemy that is in the middle of a group as opposed to one that is on the edge of a group, it just increases the chances that more things will be either primed by the singularity or even pulled into the singularity. If this means you have to use pull on something to drag it closer towards where you're going to or where you have thrown your singularity, by all means. If this means you have to pull something that is too far away to get caught by the singularity in order to line it up with your shockwave, by all means, do that too. And don't forget that your shockwave is still a really good oh shit power. If something's in your face, it can stagger it. If it's not something that has shields or armor and is not a big ass boss like a Hydra or a Fiend or an Ascendant or a Remnant Destroyer or a Nullifier, so on and so forth, it will more than likely stagger it or lift it into the air if it is a decent size, if it is a humanoid-sized enemy that does not have shields or armor. It's a really good oh shit power. It's not just your combo detonator, so use it willy-nilly. Don't just save it for when you were trying to detonate your combos. You kind of sort of not necessarily want to spam it, but use it as often as possible, because as I said, it's a really good oh shit power. And you can't always rely on your pull to be an effective means for applying crowd control, staggering something that is rushing you and just inflicting lots of damage to you in a short time span. Oh no, you're about to go down. what do? Well, you're probably going to want a shockwave rather than use pulls. The only time you pretty much want to use pull is if it's a very weak mook that you can just yank up in the air, detonate with a shockwave, and just kill with the simple 1-2 punch of pull and shockwave. So I think that'll just about sum it up. There's really not much else that I can add. It's a very fast-paced, kind of high-octane sort of playstyle for a caster class. I really do enjoy playing it. The more supportive kind of methodology of the Human Adept that I did in the first Human Adept character build guide, I do like that as well, but in terms of me just being able to run around and count on myself to be able to handle pretty much any situation, I much prefer this particular character setup. It's got excellent crowd control, it has excellent group and area damage. It's just a real fun, enjoyable character setup to play. So, hope you find the rest of the gameplay entertaining as well as enjoyable. As I said, if you would like to see part 1 where I go over the specifics of this character build and the exact same setup that I'm using in this video, check the link in the description below for part 1 of today's character build guide. This has been Mobius Y for Mass Effect Andromeda's multiplayer. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you on the battlefield. Good luck, Apex.
Don't die.
Squad member down.
Fine, fine. Destroyer! Snap out of it!
3 more to go. Reload. We're tracking reinforcements.
Excellent.
Enemies incoming.
Leave it!
I'm reading a flatline.
If I must. Shields down! Watch your head!
I'm reading a flatline.
Don't die.
Teammate injured.
Don't die.
Teammate injured.
All right, I'm
job, Apex. Keep it going.
About time.
The enemy's tapping into civilian comm traffic. We need to take out their uplink devices.
That's a destroyer.
One problem gone. Teammate injured.
Fine, fine.
Enemy tech shut.
Watch out!
Almost done. I'm reading a flat line. All enemy devices are now offline.
Useless shields.
Teammate injured.
You go. Useless shields.
3 more to go.
Last one's mine. Kill the
Sensors clear for now.
destroyer.
Great shooting.
Excellent.
We're done here. Get yourself to the LZ.
Get safe. No shields out. Take cover.
I'm reading a flat line.
Fine, fine.
Squad member down.
Fine, fine. Watch your head.
gets it done. Come